And now, we have saved the best for the last, it looks like. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce the speaker delivering our last address. He is a distinguished global technology strategist, Mr. Naveen Mishra, Vice President at Gartner. Mr. Mishra serves as Vice President and Team Manager at Gartner, where he guides technology leaders across the world on cloud strategy, digital infrastructure, and the evolving IT services landscape. Over his nearly 2 decades with Gartner, he has contributed to research leadership and advisory engagements whilst shaping IT strategy conversations across India. Earlier in his career, he held positions including Senior Director Analyst and Research Director and Global Agenda Manager for data centers, where he focused on cloud transformation and data center modernization. He is also recognized as an industry commentator. Publications such as the Economic Times regularly feature his insights on global IT spending trends, generative AI readiness, and data center investment priorities. Mr. Mishra has spoken at leading global technology forums, including the Gartner Symposium IT Expo in Goa and the Gartner IT Infrastructure and Data Center Summit in Mumbai, where he has addressed thousands of CIOs and senior technology leaders. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Naveen Mishra, Vice President at Gartner.
No? Okay, all right. So, my connection with TiE and Vizag is very much limited and very much driven by Kalyan. This is my first visit to Vizag here in Visakhapatnam. And I was listening to Kalyan in his opening remarks. The passion that he brings to the entrepreneurship. I must share a small story. Kalyan started off his entrepreneurial journey in India with setting up Pi data center. And that was the first time, probably Kalyan, 10, 12 years, 2014, thank you. 2014, that was the first time as a lead analyst for Gartner on data center infrastructure, he and I had a conversation when he was building out the first data center, his first facility, and he wanted to talk about the phenomenal thing that he did. From 2014 to 2026, one thing which I still see common in Kalyan is the passion, the drive that he has. So kudos to Kalyan for having that passion. And I'm so glad that he invited me here. And I'm glad to spend next 15 minutes actually talk about the future trends. So my session is going to be slightly technical. I won't repeat everything that has been said so far by all the eminent speakers here. I'm going to talk about the disruptions that will shape investments, AI, of course, which we call as generative AI, and then agentic AI brings an additional color to that. But yes, the AI race has accelerated phenomenally in the last 12 to 18 months. You heard from Shailendra talking about things that Oracle is doing. There are enterprises who are investing in generative AI. So there is an AI race where we see huge investments happening. Now, what does this mean from an entrepreneurship perspective? Were some of you attended AI Summit in Delhi? Come on, I know you want lunch, so some of you, yes. Here is how we need to think of AI as an investor or as an entrepreneur who is building IPs around AI, and especially the students as well. The most fundamental layer in AI is going to be the AI infrastructure. That's where GPUs come in. That's where the cloud providers come in. That's where the neo cloud providers come in. That's the most fundamental layer. Vizag is in news, and that was one of my conversations that I was having with Kalyan, that, hey Kalyan, Vizag and Andhra Pradesh is becoming so popular, so much in the news. So we see a lot more infrastructure investment happening in this part of country. As you move up the stack from infrastructure, then we look into from the infrastructure, we go all the way up to models, to data, and then to applications. These are the four very fundamental layers which you need to think of when you consider AI. And then around this AI ecosystem, there is security, there is governance. There is a talk about responsible AI. The reason I mentioned the AI summit, because in each of these layers, we have India-based entrepreneurs, Indian ecosystem that is thriving. There are large multinational companies who are operating in the space, delivering specific use cases for Indian enterprises. But at the same time, there is a huge focus on building models from India, for India and the world. Companies like Oracle, you heard Shalin talk about their footprint across these layers of AI. When we think of AI models particularly, and that's where there is a huge scope for entrepreneurs here to think of creating specific models that will fit into specific use cases. So with that as the idea, look at these trends. A lot of these trends are driven by AI and the four layers that I talked about from an AI perspective. Robots, energy efficient compute, earth intelligence, domain language models, algorithms, digital ethics. Now, if I look at these six, the top six from this slide, as an entrepreneur, you're going to look at energy efficient compute. How can you contribute to that infrastructure layer? Can you be a part of that? Domain language models, this is where a lot of India-based companies are showing footprints. Think of Sarvam AI. Think of Gyani AI. These are India-based models that have been created, which are very specific to certain use cases. They're designing SLMs. So think of how can you contribute towards these models which are being created. You can create it for specific uses. In Andhra Pradesh, you can scale it up to India, and then you can take it globally as well. And I think TiEcon can be a great platform for you to help you scale. then let's look into the next 6 trends that I have on this slide. We talk about synthetic data. That's becoming real. We talk about sensor fusion, where actually we believe that the sensors will take a radical shift. GenAI coding, and this is basically how GenAI is going to impact the entire software development life cycle. Intelligence. In every conversation, then we think of how GenAI will drive future use cases. The underlying hypothesis, the underlying assumption is intelligence. Finally, the last one, which we call as preemptive security. This is securing GenAI. And we all know the challenges which are linked with GenAI. We have hackers, we have more vulnerabilities. So the traditional way of securing data, infrastructure, application, all of that may not work as we scale our AI usage. And that's where the preemptive security is going to play out. So as an investor, and if you're an investor, as an investor, are you betting on preemptive security? As an investor, are you betting on a company which may not be the biggest company here, but fundamentally challenges the traditional notion of security, infrastructure, application, all of it? And yes, the large companies are changing themselves, but at the same time, there is a space for homegrown, disruptive companies who are AI native. And they can be AI native from a security perspective. They can be AI native in terms of how they treat data. Now, when we talk about data, I must also mention cloud as an example. And Shailendra and I have been working together for a long time. 10 years back, I think that's when Shailendra, cloud was available and launched by even Oracle as well, I believe. I think Safra was in tower. I think that's when the launch happened. And yes, you heard it right, where there were questions about what will happen to large companies like Oracle when people will consume cloud-based software, cloud-based hardware. And yes, many companies, including Oracle, pivoted in that direction to respond to the changing buyer needs. And Shally and his leadership team and I will have very interesting conversation about who is driving that change, who is leading that, who is behind, what kind of data is going to move to cloud. My belief is that AI is also going to see a similar adoption pattern, where the only difference is that probably AI is one of the most disruptive changes that many of us have seen in our lifetimes. The quantum of change that it is bringing to everything that we have been doing. So the speed of change is massive when it comes to AI and the 5th generation of AI that we are talking about. So you as investors who want to spot that next trend, look out for some of these. As a student who is in the very early stage of building an IP, think of, can you create an IP into security, data? AI will be successful in the long term, and it's going to be a journey, and data is going to be a big barrier. Enterprises are struggling to get their existing internal data and use AI for 100 use cases. We see 2, 3, 5, 10 use cases. But as I talked about the race, the AI race, we need to see those 50 to 100 use cases. So if you want to focus on healthcare, pharmaceutical, coffee making, actually, you know, I was very impressed to hear the coffee story. See how can you solve that one problem using AI, partner with this ecosystem. In the interest of time, that's it for me. I have a panel as well at 2 o'clock, so that's an advertisement, where I'm joined by some of the very eminent speakers and panelists on data centers, and that ties very nicely with energy efficient compute. So with that, dhanyavadalu. Thank you.
Thank you, Naveen Garu. And it is an honor for us here at TiEcon Vizag to have this opportunity to host you in our city. Can we please request Kalyan to present you with a token?